Have you ever wondered if there was some magical part of you that you've been unable or afraid to access? Have you ever felt or been told you're crazy? Here's a thought to ponder. What if you're not? What if every imaginary friend, every letter to Santa Claus, every fairy or elf you saw as a child was your inner self reaching out to the spiritual world? What if your blocks are really a bridge? What if your wounds are really your windows? What if all your anxiety and your trauma are there to elevate you to something greater than yourself? I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy, you're connected. Hear from the rock stars of the New Age world about that moment when they stepped into their power and how you can step into yours too. Here on Crazy Connected with your host, Bridget LeRoy. So welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Bridget LeRoy. Welcome to Crazy Connected. I have a very special guest. I guess I say that every time, but this one's really, really special. We have Petra Zlota, who I met here in Costa Rica. Petra, are you here in Costa Rica right now?
I am Bridget.
So am I.
Thank you for the welcome.
Yes, I'm so glad to have you on. So I met Petra at Embody, Costa Rica. You were leading a chakra dance and all these beautiful modalities. But what interests me so much, I mean, we're going to talk about everything, but what interests me so much is your connection to cacao. That is fascinating. What drew you? Because I've done a cacao ceremony with Petra. It was beautiful. It was so spiritual, and you know, we think about chocolate, a nice little bit of chalky. We don't think about it being plant medicine, heart opener. What drew you to that?
You know, Bridget, so I'm from the Czech Republic, and in 2020, I got to go to a cacao ceremony in Prague that some friends were organizing at the time, a little under the cover. And at that time, I was thinking about coming to Costa Rica. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to the cacao ceremony. I had a bad day and I ended up going there, and the experience was wonderful. And what was so interesting was that I started to get visions of lush green nature and waterfalls. And I didn't really look up much about Costa Rica before, but in the cacao ceremony, I got all these visions and I was like, okay, I'm going to Costa Rica. And yeah.
My next question was, how did you end up here? Because we all have stories, but keep going.
Yeah, that was the story. And so I decided to come for 3 weeks. And actually, as I was kind of preparing for the trip, I couldn't sleep at night many nights. My brain was going, and I started to look up farms, and I was like, can I go and spend some time at a cacao farm? And then I found a cacao leadership program at Finca Divina Vida that you know, I think, very well.
And right down the road from me.
Yeah. And I actually booked a training there. And it's kind of how it all started, because during the training, I got to meditate with the cacao trees. I had to ask for permission to carry this medicine and serve it to people. And just the downloads I was getting from the different, like the mama cacaos, the grandmother cacaos, and the teenager cacaos was just incredible. And I fell in love with this. And and it's been teaching me, as I serve cacao, it's been teaching me. I've kind of created my own way of running the ceremonies, and every time it's magical, and every time it's different.
It really is, and you add your own special sparkle to everything. So tell me what growing up was like. Were you like, the show is called Crazy Connected? Did you have a childhood where you saw things, or you heard things, or you felt a connection, and was that encouraged or hidden? What was it like growing up in the Czech Republic with being you?
Yeah. I got to spend, I'm from a small town, maybe about 6,000 people, surrounded by nature. So I got to spend a lot of time in nature, and kind of looking back now, I see how important it was for me. I would play fairies and sing in a forest, and it was kind of like my little kingdom. And my grandmother was teaching me herbs and really more connection with nature. And so, it was it was interesting because I loved spending my own time, like private time, by being by myself in the forests. And then I also loved being around people. I did, I did a lot of activities. I played the piano, I sang, and I used music to kind of balance me out. And then I just loved going to the forest and sing there out loud because I couldn't do that in an apartment where we were living.
Right.
And growing up, I was never raised Catholic, there was Catholic church mainly, but some of the family members were, and I was always kind of challenging them. I was like, okay, so where's the God? Who is the God?
Right.
Aren't you closer to God when you go onto the hill and be in nature than being in a church, you know? So I was having these questions, and maybe when I was a teenager, I was really questioning, what is our existence? And is somebody playing us like video game? And, you know, these kind of thoughts were coming into my mind a lot. And I think also, you know, my intuition, and I was the only child, so I would also, I guess, talk and imagine things or not. I don't know, you know. Spirits, I always thought somebody was behind the window growing up, looking in, and maybe it's interesting. It's not.
I mean, I just wanted to throw this out because it sounds so similar. And to me, I mean, I had a stepsister and I have much younger half siblings, but I was an only child. And so I'm not sure if it came from maybe like a deep loneliness, like to invent or to, I don't know, to expand my awareness of the other worlds so that I didn't feel alone. I don't really know what it was, but I so relate. I resonate with what you're saying. Yeah.
I had to spend doing that a lot, and my imagination was just through the roof. Like I was imagining all kinds of stuff, but I was also a very independent child, and I loved adventures, and I was just reflecting back. So I was also into UFOs growing up.
Yeah.
And I remember I was just visiting my parents a couple of weeks ago, and I came across this book that my father gave me when I was maybe 10 or 9, you know. So I was already like also thinking, what is out there, right? Are there other species? Is this so it's interesting as a grown up looking back and just looking at some of these clues from being connected to nature, but also understanding that there's something beyond, and also questioning the reality we're living in. Is this the truth, or is it not?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you were somewhat encouraged, which is wonderful. I mean, we've had guests on, like my friend Lauren, who, I mean, she was sent away to like therapeutic schools because her parents were like, you're not seeing anything. Do you know what I mean? And it sounds like in a way your parents or your family wanted to encourage your curiosity, right? That sounds really positive. But it led you to this. What? Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
Or I maybe I wouldn't speak up about everything.
Right.
You know, so they would, I see the encouragement like with the book and stuff, but I think oftentimes I was keeping things for myself because I was thinking maybe this is not appropriate or this might be crazy. And so that is also maybe another edge of this. Yeah.
Right. But you know what? I didn't really get to, like, I introduced you and we jumped in so fast. I really didn't say what it is that you do now. I mean, you lead cacao ceremonies, you lead retreats. And you do, I follow you on Instagram it's Petra _Illuminera. Is that right?
Yes,
Illuminera.
that's correct.
And it seems like you're doing like retreats in the Czech Republic where you're bringing people from there to Costa Rica for retreats to share your knowledge. I saw that you were at some fabulous festival down, it looked like maybe in the southern zone. So, you know what, like, you came here for 3 weeks. You clearly live in Costa Rica now. What and you've incorporated all of your spiritual connection into this wonderful life. I mean, explain what it is that you do now, because so people can look you up and come and visit.
Hey, thank you very much. Yeah, so I have gone on kind of a streak of learning various modalities. So I have trained in the level 1 craniosacral therapy. I've done rapid transformation therapy training and some coaching, and then the cacao ceremonies and maybe a few other things that I'm also in a program, the Jaguar Path right now. And yes, and this is
My beloved Ray and Nina.
yes.
Yes.
And this is really, I've realized that through learning the modalities, they have become kind of the baseline for me to get more messages. So as I am practicing, or I've realized I started to practice and like I started to get messages or like really intuitive hits what I need to do, and I just follow. So I have really like in those moments is when I would say, very connected and kind of executing or doing what I'm being told to do or I'm listening in. And the first time this kind of happened, it was, very real in my head, at least, was when I was, when I was doing a craniosacral therapy session for a woman from Nicaragua it was my friend's mother, and she's never done any kind of work. And I was doing the craniosacral, and then I had this voice, and it said, "Go get your ball, the Tibetan ball." And I'm like, "What? Go get your ball." So I go downstairs, I get my ball, I bring it in, and I start playing it. And then I hear sing. And I'm like, "What?" Again, this conversation, sing. So I start singing, and I'm like playing the ball and singing whatever was kind of coming through. No song, right? It just sounds. Mm. And then I'm like singing, and in the meantime asking, can I be done? No, you will know when you're done. So I was getting very, very clear messages. And in the end, it finished, and the woman was like, "Oh my God, I was in Tibet. I was totally like in Tibet when it was magical." So she maybe needed to have that experience, but this was
Sure.
like so it was like the first time that these.
Because with sound, you get that vibration and the frequency, and you can like change things. Like, that's amazing. Wow. And you got that download, and, that's the thing is like, how do we always, I think I probably was getting downloads my whole life, but I wasn't listening to them, and it really takes a certain, like, to hone that skill of active listening, of radical listening, right? Because that's what it really is. So that's just beautiful. So tell me a little bit about this, getting people to come here from Czech Republic. To me, that seems, I know it's Europe, but it seems like even farther away to me because I guess it's such a different language with the different alphabet and everything. It seems so like foreign to me, even though it's just part of Europe. But explain maybe a little bit of the connection to your homeland and bringing those people here. What is it that you want to accomplish with the beautiful people who answer your call?
Thank you. So I will address that first, and then I also would like to touch on one other thing that has been in my kind of my vision as what I do. So I, whenever I would travel back to the Czech Republic, I always bring my beloved cacao, and I feel like I'm bringing the energy of the land over there as well, because the land in Costa Rica and the energy here is very nurturing, very transformative, and I feel like I needed to stay here. So after the 3 weeks I was here, I stayed 3 months, and then I went to Europe for 2 months, and I came back because I knew I needed to be here, and I can see how that has been really accelerating things for me with being connected with all the different modalities and the growth that I have experienced. And so I believe that this is such a potent place for transformation that that kind of led me and a few other women that were collaborating on this project to bring people here for these transformative experiences. So, and then with preparation and integration, so that they can also leverage this land. There are beautiful places in the Czech Republic as well, so everywhere in the world. But to me, Costa Rica it's just some magic. Like the land speaks, right?
Sorry, I interrupt a lot. So keep your train of thought. But Eric and I went to Chiripo for the first, like, not even up the mountain. So For people who don't know, Chiripo is the highest peak in Costa Rica. And if it's a clear day, which it isn't always because it's part of the cloud forest, but if it's a clear day, you can see both the Caribbean Ocean and the Pacific Ocean at the same time. And it's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of like the Andean, the Peruvian stories that we've heard about the people who went up into the mountain when the conquistadors arrived and kept their culture and their heritage intact. Well, the indigenous people of Chiripo did that as well. So it's a very, very, very spiritual, like it's a vortex of spirituality.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know spiritual vortex, whatever. But Eric and I went up, and I swear to God, Petra, I felt my heart open, like I had tears. I was like, and it wasn't that the mountain is the most beautiful mountain in the world. I mean, Arenal is more like, razzle dazzle. It's a volcano, and it's, but Chiripo, there's something about it. You can feel the energy coming off of it. And I know that you've been there, or you've experienced, because I know when I was a Blue Spirit with Jamie and all these people, they're like, oh, Petra, hi, yeah, we love Petra. And like, everybody. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, because you talk about the land here, that everywhere I go, I get so amazed, just so amazed over and over by I don't know what it is, just the roots, the strength, the crystals in it, I don't know what it is. There's something in this land.
And, I have also an interesting story from the Chiripo area. I was actually, I think, with Jamie, that you know.
Yeah, Jamie Hoods.
We were talking, and she's like, okay, and it was like, I think when she came here first to Costa Rica, and we were talking, and she's like, we're talking about the connection to the land. And I'm like, yeah, what, the land here is so supportive and nurturing. And then I started to do this move, like a circular movement. And as I was doing it, we could just feel like energy coming from the earth up, like getting goosebumps. I even got a little dizzy. And Jamie was like, oh, did you feel that? And I'm like, yeah. So I was like, there you go. There's the earth is talking to us, And
that's where where you're not crazy, you're connected. Yeah, that's exactly. It, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
So one thing that maybe is not clear from my social media, and I don't even know if you've had that conversation, is that I do have a job in a corporate. And yeah, I know I don't maybe share it too much because it's kind of like the everyday. But you know what, Bridget? It came to me in December 2023. I was like, why am I keeping this when I want to be doing just this other stuff? And it came to me like the message was connected, bridge the world. And so it took me until last September when I launched a kind of well-being program for a team of about 200 people, but not everybody shows up because they always think that mindfulness and breath work and stuff is on the second line, first is the work. But somehow the word has been spreading. I work for a multinational company in healthcare, interestingly enough, and the world has been spreading. And so I've been invited to different groups, different events to do like 5-minute breath work, 5-10 minutes exercise on gratitude, and so on. And last Friday, we've talked about it since the beginning of January with the group, but I was invited to this. We have these employee resource groups within the company. I work for Philips Healthcare. I was invited to by folks in the Black employee resource group. And then there's also the Native Americans and Middle Eastern. So there are different of these groups where people can support each other and stuff. And I was invited to do a thing to help people ground in the times of change, or season of change. That was the name of the session. And we had 117 people show up. Yeah. And yeah. And I brought my drum, my shamanic drum, my crystal balls. I took people through some breath work, grounding, coming to their body, and then visualization journey. And the feedback, oh my God, people were like, okay, this is what we need. Oh my God, like feel so much better. This was amazing. All these things. But there were also people that were, maybe not to the main chat, but, separately talking about the experience they've had. They've gone on a journey. It was just 30 minutes and they have gone on a journey and had like deep connections, and their energy totally shifted from being stressed, coming from all these back-to-back calls that everybody usually has, to calm. And it was on Friday, so it was great. So people then could go and relax. But the feedback, like my heart was just, and it's just such a confirmation that it's not about, I don't know, that for me, the journey is being in these worlds. And I'm also maybe in the future thinking, working with other companies and really bringing this in, because that's where so many people are. And with every session, every time I talk to them, I'm like, the intention is, if something little opens up, if something little, small, tiny changes, if a little bit of awakening happens, that's worth it, even with one person, So that's been something.
And we're back on Crazy Connected after a short break, talking to Petra Zlota. Petra, it's been so wonderful to have you as a guest. I love your energy. I love just you radiate all this beauty from the many, many modalities that you've been through in your life and that you practice. But one thing seems to resonate the most, which is you talk about music and nature. You really do. And I was wondering if you could share with us perhaps a song from your childhood, maybe a lullaby. I would love to hear you sing a little bit of that for us.
Okay, let me think. Yeah, there's one that I really, really like, that I still remember. So let's see. Okay. Spinky, můj maličký, máš v očích hvězdičky, dám ti je do vlasů, tak usínej, tak usínej. Ho, 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 vatanaj, ho, ho, vatanaj, ho, ho, vatanaj, kiyokena, kiyokena.
Wow. And for those of us who don't speak Czech, what was that about?
It's a lullaby, right, for a child. So it talks about sleep, little one. You have stars in your eyes. I'm gonna put them in your hair. So sleep, sleep. And there's this whole Vatanai is, I don't know, that's maybe like a spin on a Native American, maybe? I don't know. These are not words per se. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. It's just kind of a connection to
wow.
some other language.
It's beautiful and powerful. When I went to Sardinia to trace my own ancestry, I met a shaman there, and we did some like ceremonies around this ancient sacred well. And he sang a song with lyrics that nobody even knows what they mean anymore. It's that old. So I wonder if that's a word that's just been passed down through your own heritage to end up with you in your bones and in your DNA, and now in ours. Petra, thank you so much. If people want to follow you, find out more, find out about the programs you run, where can they contact you?
I think the best would be via my Instagram at Petra, Petra _ Illuminera, so ILLUMINERA.
I'm sure we'll put it in the down low. Yeah, for sure.
Or via email as well, if somebody wants to contact me, so petra.illuminera@gmail.com.
Oh, it's just been such a joy to have you. I just adore you. And, what advice would you have? What would be the thing that comes to your heart, to your lips first, if I were to say someone wants to feel crazy connected? What would you tell them to do first?
Go and connect to nature and hear nature. Listen to the sounds of nature.
That's beautiful.
That. Yeah.
Petra, thank you for joining us on Crazy Connected. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you. It was such a pleasure.
A pleasure. You've been listening to Crazy Connected or watching it with your host, Bridget LeRoy and Petra Zlota, and we'll see you next time.